Hi, this is Ernie. I'm that guy who had $6 in his checking account to now having millions of dollars. Ever since I posted a video about Klarna IPO, people have asked, hey, what about other ones that's currently available? So today I want to talk about Gemini because, just like Bullish, just like Circles, anything related to crypto did really, really well. And I'm not saying that how I do my analysis is correct because I certainly missed out on Circles IPO. But there are some not so great numbers and figures that I see from Gemini that prevents me to consider them. So I want to share my reasons behind it, as well as talk about another IPO, which I think it's worth investing, but it might not be able to get that huge pop because the latter one is a little bit boring in terms of the business. But let's go with the first one first. This is SoFi. If you go to SoFi, it has all the things that you could possibly invest in. And I already submitted my interest for Klarna and via transportation. And this is one that a lot of people are interested in. So I'm going to click on this and give you additional information. By the way, for those who are interested in investing in IPO used to be reserved for people with $10 million or more. That's the requirement at JP Morgan. But SoFi and Robinhood, they made it available. So you're not going to get thousands of shares, but you get some shares. And recently, it has popped a lot, so I think it's definitely worth looking into. And if you go to my profile, use the link for SoFi, they give you free $25 worth of stocks. So I think it's definitely worth looking into versus, Robinhood, some people like it, but they promote gambling, so I stopped promoting them. But anyway, let's go to Gemini. So you go to that page, and on the right-hand side, it's going to have View Prospectus. Now you're going to have all the information that you need. And this company is very promising, right? They have an amazing app. They have a credit card where you earn Bitcoin rather than like 1% cash back. I mean, the figures are amazing. But here's a little bit of a caveat. I think they raised money in private market, right, before going IPO. They do Series A, B, C, D, and E, and so forth. This was worth $7 billion, but they've screwed up a couple times, so now it's only worth $2.2 billion. But anyway, I'll share more of that information, but let's go to, all these statistics are phenomenal, right? How could you not even consider that? But something that we need to look at is here, summary, historical consolidated financial data. So let me go through this one by one so that you have some clarity in terms of what I am talking about. I'm not saying I'm right, but I have been right more than I've been wrong looking at the finances. So 2003 to 2004, revenue grew almost 50%, actually more than 50%. And if you look at the operating loss, it's bizarre, right? How much money they are losing. They lost $311 million when their revenue was 96 million. So they're just hemorrhaging money. But in 2024, they not only grew their revenue by a lot, they also reduced the losses by close to half. So they're going into the right direction, right? And we could just see that. But what happens is we don't have 2005 full view of 2025. But from 2024 to 2025, just looking at the first 6 months of their operation, their revenue did not grow. That 50% revenue was not able to be seen here. Total revenue, that even the other revenue has gone down, right? Salary, they spend more money to generate less revenue. They spend more on technology to generate less revenue. General and administrative has gone up. Legal expense went down, right? They had a lot of legal issues, which might be behind them. There might be more coming. But look, sales and marketing, they spend 3.5 times more money and they are not generating enough revenue like they used to, or even comparable growth that they have seen. And you might say there's economies of scale that they may not be able to grow 50%, but they're not growing at all. And look at the entire net loss at the end. Look, $41 million. Remember, they're heading towards the right direction. So if this is 6 months, so if you double that amount, roughly, it's about $82 million. So they're heading towards the right direction, except over there, it just popped. So I need to do a little more digging to figure out why there was this huge loss and why there was incredible amount of or lack of demand for their products and services that they are not able to see the growth. And for those who are wondering about their legal trouble, right? New York Attorney General, they filed a lawsuit. So Department of Financial Services agreeing to return $1.1 billion to earn program customers and pay $37 million in penalty. And then they got more issues. So there was like more issues with the SAC, but they ultimately dropped the enforcement action. But they probably spent millions, tens of, maybe even hundreds of millions of dollars trying to defend this. And then Commodity Futures Trading Commission, there was another $5 million settlement because they made a misleading statement. They're just in like trouble after trouble after trouble. This is why I am not sure. And I think when you have legal issues, I mean, you cannot really focus on a lot of things. Maybe you're like one hand is tied behind your back. Maybe that's what it was. But like another one, settlement with New York financial regulator, block that would return over $1.8 billion when they were making $96 million in revenue. Versus, I'm going to show you via transportation, however they pronounce it. You'll see a completely different financial statement that shows that company is actually growing. It's heading towards the financial stability. So, but before I talk even more, let me just show you this financial statement from their S1 filing. Again, it's their filing. Top is the revenue, and then there's a net loss over there. So compared to that, this is what you see. In first 6 months of 2024, they generated $162 million. But where are they going? Now they're generating $205 million. So they're getting, what is that, 40%? About 30%. 30% revenue growth. Just looking at 6 months. And if you go down to losses, like as you're making more money, because it is, I mean, you have the technology, you have the know-hows and everything, your profit or loss is actually getting smaller. And this is what it is supposed to be. So while the latter business might be boring, right? It's not in crypto, it's just like public transportation, smart city management. Yeah, I understand it's not the sexy kind, but at least they are heading towards the right direction in terms of controlling their spend and heading towards profitability, and they're able to grow their revenue in double digit, which I think is very impressive. And given that I've done some logistics and tolling and all that type, I think there's a lot of untapped potential with this particular IPO. I know this is a lot of information, so feel free to reach out using comments. I'll respond to you within 24 hours. And for those who want to learn something like this, don't forget to follow me and then also like and repost so that your friends will be able to learn from this as well. Thanks for watching.